Sir Rhys, from now onwards, you shall lead the Balerno martial world. Emery was quick to react, addressing Dustin as Sir Rhys right away. Then, he bowed to Dustin in a show of his support. All hail Sir Rhys, Josie cried out as she pumped her fist into the air. All hail Sir Rhys. The rest of the martial artists also raised their fists as they shouted in unison. Their voices echoed all around, reaching the sky and causing the ground to rumble. The drunken maniac's presence brought about a major change of events. Just the previous second, Dustin had been the collective enemy of the entire alliance. And the next second, he was nominated as the alliance leader, to be revered by all. For a moment, things seemed to be looking up for him. But Dustin remained expressionless. He looked on coldly at all the martial artists who were acting respectfully to him. There was not the slightest hint of excitement or joy in his eyes. It all looked ridiculously ironic to him how things were. Apart from a handful of righteous ones among them, most of the remaining martial artists were fence-sitters who shifted their allegiance based on the circumstances. They had just been clamoring to slay him moments ago. And now, they were all cheering for him. Their instant change in attitude was ridiculous to him. As for the position of the alliance leader, he had absolutely no interest in it. He had challenged Ronald solely for revenge and to seek justice. My abilities are limited. I'm afraid I do not have what it takes to be the leader of the Balerno Martial Arts Alliance. You should pick someone else, Dustin announced, turning down the position. Everyone was stunned when they heard that. None of them had expected it from Dustin. Was he joking? To be appointed as the alliance leader was an honor that many of them could only dream of ever having. It was the ultimate pursuit of all martial artists. It signified not only a person's status and identity but also unparalleled authority. Countless leaders of different guilds and martial experts longed for that ultimate position. But not only did Dustin not appreciate the fortune that fell upon him, he even turned it down. Was he even thinking straight? Grandmaster Rhys, you're the only person in the whole of Balerno who's fit to take the position. Emery was dumbfounded. Had he not challenged Ronald for fame, power, and authority? He would be in a supreme position as long as he took up the role. He could have everything he ever wanted. Yes, Grandmaster Rhys, you're a front-runner for all of us young martial artists. No one else is better fit to assume the position, Josie persuaded. She greatly admired Dustin, so she hoped that he could take the position. He was now just one step away from it. All Dustin had to do was accept it, and the position would be his. He would be respected by all. What was there not to like about it? I appreciate the gesture, but I have no interest in taking up the position of the alliance leader. Dustin shook his head lightly as his gaze fell on Emery. Sir Williamson is capable and prestigious. He's more suited for the position than I am. I think you're the best candidate for the position of the alliance leader. Well, Emery showed a torn expression on the surface when he was actually overjoyed deep down. Of course, he yearned to be the leader of the alliance, but Dustin's performance earlier on had been too remarkable. Besides, he had an ultimate grandmaster, the drunken maniac, backing him up. No matter how great Emery's ambition for the position was, he dared not contend against Dustin for it. Hence, he had gone with the flow and did Dustin a favor by nominating him as leader. What he had not expected was that Dustin would reject it. What a surprise. Hey, kid, the title of the alliance leader is not entirely useless. Are you sure you don't want to give it more thought? The drunken maniac yawned as he asked Dustin. No. I have no time to busy myself with affairs of the martial world. Dustin could not be bothered to waste more time on pointless talking. He began rummaging through Ronald's dead body. Very soon, he found a gold bead. It was the Celestial Pearl. It was a sacred relic of the martial world. Dustin would never let a treasure like that slip past his fingers. After all, it could speed up his cultivation. He was sure that with the aid of the Celestial Pearl, he would soon reach the level of Ultimate Grandmaster. Then, he would finally be able to put his plan for revenge into fruition. Oh, what a treasure! The drunken maniac was surprised to see the Celestial Pearl. Let's go, drunken maniac. Let's get a drink together. After putting the Celestial Pearl away safely, Dustin ignored the rest of them and walked down the stage with the celestial blade in hand. The crowd made way for him wherever he went. Dustin's incredible performance today had gained everyone's respect. Many of them could not understand why he refused to be the leader of the Alliance. But, for now, it seemed like a good thing. That was especially so with all the guild masters dying and ready to fight for the position. An upheaval was bound to happen in the martial world. And it will happen soon. Oh, right. Dustin stopped in his tracks at the thought of something. He turned to look straight at Quincy. I almost forgot. I've got this pain to deal with. You. What do you want? Quincy's expression changed immediately as panic flashed in his eyes. From the moment I set foot here, you've been dying to kill me. I'm afraid I won't be able to get any sleep knowing that such a threat is roaming free. Dustin looked at him coldly. They were now sworn enemies. Letting Quincy walk away with his life today would inevitably spell trouble for him in the future. You better not act rashly. I'm an elder of the Alliance. Quincy was obviously flustered. He took several steps back. He had kept silent the whole time, trying to lay low and make it out with his life. Unfortunately, Dustin had not forgotten about him. I've just killed the leader of the Alliance. What more a mere elder? Dustin smirked before sending a needle flying with a flick of his finger. Quick as a flash, it buried itself between Quincy's brows. You dash. Quincy opened his mouth to say something. But suddenly, his body shook briefly, and he stiffened. Then, a drop of blood oozed out from between his brows. The very next second, all life seemed to be sucked out of Quincy as he collapsed to the ground lifelessly. His eyes were opened wide, and absolute fear and hatred were etched on his face. A few of Quincy's underlings were scared out of their wits at what they just witnessed. They dropped to their knees and began begging for their lives. Dustin simply ignored them and turned to look at Theodore. He had a serious killing intent in his eyes. Theodore and the rest of them instantly got anxious. It was as though they were facing a fearsome enemy. If Dustin was out to get revenge against them, they would have no choice but to give their all and fight to the death. Relax, I'm not going to kill you guys. But that's only because someone out there has already called dibs. So before your worst nightmare comes knocking, you better take good care of yourselves. With that ambiguous warning, Dustin turned and left without claiming their lives. It was not that he was being merciful to spare them. But Abigail will have to be the one to take their lives. She would be the one to avenge her father and make them pay dearly for what they did to him. The day that Abigail returned would be the day these hypocrites paid with their lives. Dustin left them with nothing but his cold, retreating figure. However, the commotion that he stirred up lasted for a long time. It's such a pity that Mr. Reese didn't take up the position. He missed out on a great opportunity to make a name for himself internationally, Lynn exclaimed. She admired Dustin for his abilities and his moralities. He drew a clear line between friends and enemies and was unmoved by fame and fortune. It was truly rare to find someone of his integrity. However, he was very much a lone wolf due to his lack of wants. No, you're wrong. Dustin did not miss out on an opportunity. He simply could not be bothered by it. Josie said, standing to the side. Her burning gaze was full of admiration. It might be an honor beyond reach for others, but for Dustin, it's just something within easy reach. And such is the difference between regular people and a person marked out for success. Besides, after today, his reputation as a young grandmaster will certainly be made known worldwide, so there is no need for him to prove anything or to drum up support.